Hey everybody, and welcome to Bits of Board, where we're talking board games, miniatures, cards and dice. My name's Michael, and today we continue on our journey through Kingdom Death Monsters campaign, and this is a big one. Lantern Year 21 sounds like just any other year, but this is the year that we take on the Watcher, the first major boss that we've come across here, and this is where the game absolutely takes another turn. This is where we have to have our A game, our luckiest rolls, our best strategies, our best armor and gear combinations. Ooh la la. Now I think I've come up with a pretty decent collection of survivors here. I've had a proper think about it since last episode, and yeah, we're gonna hopefully get through this one. Fingers crossed. Now we're going to pick up where we left off last ep. We're going to finish off the Lantern Year 21 development phase, because honestly, when we rolled that red savior, man, that was a game changer. For the better too. Alright, so we'll head back into the development phase, we'll prepare those survivors, and then guys and gals, it's Watcher time. Let's do it. Alright, so just finishing off our development phase for Lantern Year 21, I'll tell you what, that was a spin out getting that red savior last episode, and I almost had no idea what to do here. We've got plenty of resources to spend, and I kind of had a look at the builds that I had going on, and there wasn't too much that I needed at this point. So we might save a little bit of development. I believe I have everything ready to go for our encounter with the Watcher, but we do still have these two endeavors here to spend. First off, I would like to spend one of our endeavors over at the Bed Innovation. I would love to have the opportunity to heal Sirius's broken arm. This will gain her 1 strength and 1 accuracy, and just really aid in her progression along that bow weapon specialization side of things. So we'll do that. I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm hoping we get our 4+ here. 4. Sneaking in there. Lovely though. So you cannot endeavor again this settlement phase. Skip the next hunt. You may remove one of the following injuries, and we're going to lose that broken arm severe injury. That's okay. I wasn't planning on her joining us for the Watcher. She would be good, but I think I found someone better, so that's all right. So yeah, that's how we'll do that one. Now, the other one, we need as much help as we can possibly get against the Watcher here. So I'm going to spend this last endeavor at the shrine, and I'm hoping we get another 4+ here, because we need that little bit of extra armor. A 6, and all is well. Final adjustments. Departing survivors add 1 to all hit locations, 1 armor point to all hit locations. And there we have it. We are all spent and ready to go. We nick off from the development phase and we move into the prepared departing survivors phase. We're going to pick our 4 finest to take on the Watcher. Let's do this. All right, our first survivor out of the blocks is Eris. Now, she's got a pretty full-on setup here. It's a little bit all over the place as far as armor goes. In fact, we don't even have a full set of armor going here. We've got bits from the Screaming Antelope stuff. We've got some White Lion stuff. It's actually not too bad. It's not the one that I thought it was. Now, the reason that we've done this is to grant these 2 blue affinities and also make room for one of our other survivors, you'll see shortly. Now, Eris has the 2 blue affinities floating around there, so we have that +1 luck. And she may well need it because, honestly, out of this entire group, she has the least strength, the least ability to wound out of everybody. So she's really here for support reasons. We want to land a hit with that clawhead arrow, reducing our requirements to hit. And yeah, we've also got the Hours Ring in case things go real bad. During the aftermath, if you died or ceased to exist, you may archive the Hours Ring and reset the campaign to the previous settlement phase's development step before you departed. This is our second chance. Now, Eris has also got the Timeless Eye fighting art, and it means we roll a perfect hit on a 9 or a 10, but that honestly doesn't mean anything to us in this gear setup. Eris is possessed, so she has absolutely no ties to any weapon proficiency or anything like that. She's just here as archer support. Up next, we have one of my all-time favorite survivors. It's been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Eva. Now, Eva's got just about anything you could ever hope for. She's got a maxed out Fist and Tooth Mastery here. Now, when she gained this, she gained +2 permanent accuracy and +2 permanent strength when using any weapon. So she is here with the Steel Sword, but a second steel sword as well. I'll catch you up on that in a sec. Thanks to her mastery, she's also granted the Fist and Tooth specialization to all of our other survivors. That being said, let's take a quick look at the gear grid. Nothing crazy going on. We've got a full set of leather armor, which just gives her a little bonus to armor, and she ignores bash. We've never needed it, so it might be good to have, but honestly, it is the strongest armor grouping I could muster. Now, Eva's rocking the round leather shield, gaining even more bonus to armor. Brilliant. And down here we have the blood paint, which allows her to activate the weapon to the left and to the right of the gear grid. Right now, you can only see one steel shield, but if you'll remember, we picked up a second one. Now, Kingdom Death only comes with one copy of this, but it is not a unique item, so we should be able to wield multiple copies. So, using the powers of trick photography, I bring you the second copy. I don't know if that worked. I don't actually know if I'm that good at video editing. Anyway, on to her other bits and pieces. She's got some of the best fighting arts around. First up, we have Rhythm Chaser, which grants her +1 evasion token on arrival, and she'll gain that essentially until she's knocked down. Now, this doesn't work if you have any heavy gear, but all of her gear is non-heavy, so that is brilliant. She has the Monster Claw style fighting art, which gives her Fist and Tooth attacks +1 accuracy, +1 strength, and savage. We're honestly not going to be fighting with Fist and Tooth. She's already gotten all of her points of specialization there, so we are concentrating on that steel sword. Finally, we have the Red Fist secret fighting art, which at the start of each showdown grants every survivor a +1 strength token, and survivors may spend their strength tokens in place of survival. Now, before I get on to the disorders, I forgot to actually mention why we're bringing this sword along. Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's got a good to hit rating on a 4+. Unfortunately, it's slow, and it has a strength of 5, which is great, but it has this beautiful keyword down here, sharp, which means we roll 1d10 and add that amount as strength to our wound attempts. It's so good. Anyway, on to disorders. We've got one here, which is pretty amazing. Quixotic. This is hardly a disorder. If you are insane when you depart, gain +1 survival and +1 strength, and you better believe she's insane. We have the weak spot. When you gain this disorder, roll a random hit location and record it. You cannot depart unless you have armor at this location, and that was armor at the chest location. As you can see, we have the leather curious, so we are covered. Finally, she's got coprolalia. All your gear is considered noisy. You are always a threat unless you are knocked down, even if an effect says otherwise. Now, that's not it for Eva. Seriously, this is why she's the best. She gains +1 speed against the Butcher. The Watcher isn't the Butcher, so we don't have to worry about that. She's partially blind, but we've already taken that into consideration with her stats. It was a permanent reduction to accuracy. Now she has 6 movement, 4 accuracy, 7 strength, and 2 evasion. She is a beast. We've had her since day dot, guys. She's amazing. And the last relevant ability is her Sweet Battle ability, which grants her a free surge activation. Honestly, she is a monster. Next up, and no surprises here, we have Orin, the son of Bastion. He is carrying his father's Twilight sword, and man, is he going to use it. This thing is honestly built to take on the Watcher. As you can see here, it's got a ton of keywords, a bunch of them bad. We've got slow, cursed, cumbersome, sentient, irreplaceable, but it has this one here. Devastating 2 when fighting the Watcher. This means every time we wound with this thing, we discard an additional 2 wounds from our enemy. Amazing. 3 wounds per hit. I cannot stress how important this is to our strategy here. Now, the accuracy for the Twilight Sword, it's a bit weird. It is 9 minus our Twilight Sword proficiency. Lucky for us, Oren has almost a full batch of Twilight Sword proficiency. His dad gave him a bunch and we gained a heap from our last Hooded Knight encounter. We have 7 points, which means we only need 2 pluses to hit. Alright, on top of our Twilight Sword, we've got some Dried Arcanthus here, which is going to save us if we come up against a severe injury, no worries. We have the Boss Mendy, which is a weird item. Boss is brave. While adjacent to you, insane survivors gain +1 speed. I don't know if this is going to work, but I think we're going to be able to use it in our first turn. I hope so, if all goes well. We've got a round leather shield, which boosts up our armor, and then we've got the Phoenix gear, and this is so important for this build. Not only do we get +1 armor to all hit locations, but because of our insanity, we gain +2 movement, bringing us up to 7, and that is so important combined with our charge ability here. We may spend our movement and activation to full move in a straight line, and at the end of our movement, activate a melee weapon and attack. We add the number of spaces we moved to the strength of the attack. A potential 7 points of strength from our movement, 9 points of strength on the Twilight Sword, 2 natural strength, and we're going to gain 1 strength token from Eva's special ability. Wow, this is going to be insane. And last but not least, we have one of our newest survivors, our Red Savior, Fury. And as you can see here, we have by far one of the messiest gear grids I have come up with. Now, before I go ahead and explain the gear grid, I just want to quickly run through our Red Savior. Firstly, as a Red Savior, we gain 1 point of strength permanently. Great news. But it's not what we need for our build. It's this next point. We gain 1 permanent red affinity, and this is where this whole thing comes together. Now, she's also got the Keratosis ability, which allows us to do fun things like declare our unyielding abilities, gaining automatic hits, and it's crazy, but we've set our survivor up in a way that she's already got such a huge amount of speed on the weapons. We are dual wielding the Lion Beast Katars, which means we're going to be rolling 4 dice every time we attack with these things. Now, the to hit is not great. It's going to be a 7+ for us, but Fury has 1 natural accuracy, which will drop it down to a 6, and if we can land a hit with the Clawhead arrow and attack from the blind spot, it's not going to be too bad at all. Now, on top of our Katars, we've got some Dried Arcanthus to potentially eat up a severe injury, and then it's all about the red affinities. Check this out. 1 red affinity, 2, 3, 1 natural one for 4, and then we have the red charm here, which grants us a 5th one. And this is what's going to make us so powerful here. With 5 red affinities, we gain the Unstoppable trait. When you attempt to wound, instead of rolling 1d10 on a 1 to 5, fail. On a 6 to 10 wound, this gives us a 50% chance of wounding with our potential 4 hits. Coming up against a creature like the Watcher, for reasons you'll see shortly, this is just so important. Wow. Okay, I think that's about it here, guys. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's head off and find out what this Watcher has got in store for us. Boom, let's go.
Long ago, ravenous beasts searched the darkness using their keen senses to find their prey. In the distance, they saw a blooming pillar of light surrounded by tasty morsels, bustling in their tiny industry. Licking their chops, they approached, but the beasts halted mid-step. The wind carried a foul, menacing presence. Surely the busy creatures were harmless. Yet the menacing warning persisted, felt in their very bones. Instinctively, the beasts turned away, seeking their meals elsewhere.
Alright guys and gals, here we are, face to face with the Watcher. I have been looking forward to and dreading this encounter so much, but here we are, and let's begin by finding out what makes this encounter so deadly. Starting off with movement. Well, this guy has unlimited movement. Wherever he wants to go, he is going to go, and there's no stopping that. Far out. Next up, we have life. Now, the Watcher has toughness equal to the Lantern Year. This makes it far more beneficial to attack the Watcher as soon as he becomes available. But guess what? It gets worse from there. If you have the Record's innovation like we do, we add 2 to that number. This guy has 23 toughness. Oh, we are so lucky that we brought some heavy hitting weapons today. Now, he's also got a bunch of traits and stuff. First one that we're seeing here is the audience trait. Terrified survivors spectate the battle in silence. Now, this card contains the text for the embolden ability. If there are less than 4 non-retinue survivors on the Showdown board, a survivor from the settlement may depart and enter the Showdown. Place them in an unoccupied space along any board edge. Now, this essentially means that if we lose a survivor, we can bring a survivor in. Unfortunately, this is not an ability we can just call on. In fact, we rely on certain hit location cards for this to become a possibility. Next up, we have Lantern Vortex. At the start of each monster's turn, all survivors in the Void Nexus suffer bash. Now, the Void Nexus is a 2x2 square all around the Watcher, so if we end our turn in that area, expect to be knocked down. Then after that, the Watcher performs a basic action. Now, the Watcher's basic action targets the furthest survivor. If he has no target, he absorbs. This is a speed 4, 2+, 5 damage attack that after damage deals knockback 10 to the survivor. His absorb ability is we move the Watcher to the center of the Showdown board. All survivors gain a -1 strength token, and the Watcher heals 1d5 wounds. Now, the good news for us is his health can never go beyond its starting health, and in this case, it is 15. We are not reliant on AI cards here. He has some life trait card, which I'll show you there, which we're going to use dice to track his hit points. So once that's down, he is done. The next trait that he's got is the Vapor of Nothingness. Whenever the Watcher collides with a survivor, the blood flow to their brain stutters for a moment. They suffer 1 brain damage and 1 damage to the head that ignores armor points. Lastly, he has the Indomitable trait. Whenever the monster attacks or is attacked, it stands at the end of that attack. This card makes it impossible to keep the Watcher down. Now, to counteract some of that evil stuff, each of our survivors has a retinue card. You may summon a retinue. You may march, double march, or use the coordinated attack. Now, these are all bits and pieces that will probably, hopefully, come out during this encounter, so I probably won't spend too much time on them now. Just know, if our retinue dies, we lose 4 population. Now, there are a couple of other status cards floating around, and I'm not going to go through them just yet. We'll bring them up as they come up, because I'm sure they will. And let's just get stuck into this thing. Are you ready, guys? Wish me luck, wish the survivors luck. Let's do this. Now, the survivors are going to start off here. So we're going to begin with Orin, the son of Bastion. Now, there is no better survivor to attack with first up, because this guy hits, and he hits hard. we're going to move him from this back corner up along the board edge. Now, he has 7 points of movement thanks to his Phoenix Greaves. He is insane, so he gains that 2 movement. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right up against that board edge. And from here, we are going to make use of his charge attack, gaining 1 point of strength for every space moved. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and straight into the Watcher's blind spot there. Now this will cost him 1 point of survival to dash, getting his movement back, but it's totally worth it. Now Oren attacks with the Twilight Sword, and because of his amazing weapon proficiency, we are going to be rolling 3 dice, hitting on 2+. Told you this was a good start. We ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, massive hits there. We get the inner robes, the hydrostatic fluids, and the void epidermis. Now we do have a first strike card here, so we're going to have to deal with that one first. And this is a doozy. The attacker loses 2 survival, and if they cannot, they die instantly. Just one of the amazingly overpowered abilities the Watcher has. Never fear though, we have the survival. Now we have to go up against the Watcher's 23 toughness. Thanks to Oren's charge, we have 6 strength already. We have 9 on the Twilight Sword. We have a strength token and 2 natural strength. 18 points, that means we need a 5+ to wound here. Even after all that, it's still a tough roll. An 8, and we get our wound. Now this is why Oren is so good with that Twilight Sword. Devastating 2. We knock 3 wounds off the Watcher. First hit. Amazing. That drops him down to 12 HP, and we resolve the reflex on this card. Outraged hissing fills the air. Turn the Watcher to face the attacker. Then the monster moves 3 spaces backwards. Cancel all hits, now out of range. So we spin him around, and then 1, 2, 3, and all of those other hits are gone. Oh, all right. We're going to move into Eris's attack here, and she's going to start by summoning the retinue. In doing so, we are to place 9 of our survivors down, or we can use this 100 mil base. Now, I don't happen to have 9 miniatures actually assembled, so I'm going to go ahead and use these guys here, all these promos and other guys, and we can summon the retinue on any board edge. Now, we're going to go ahead and do something like this, but then we may move. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and move them 1 point up here, so that they are back to back with Eris, giving their support. Now, when Eris attacks, she's going to gain the coordinated attack ability. When a survivor attacks, add +6 strength to the wound attempt total for each retinue adjacent. Now, next, she's going to load up her arc bow, not firing with the bow itself, but the claw head arrow. This is 1 dice, and thanks to her accuracy, we're going to be hitting on a 4+. A 6, and we make the hit. Drawing, we get the tentacle chains. Now this is a first strike location, but this is our only strike. The attacker loses 2 survival, and if they cannot, they gain the Stolen Dreams Survivor status card. Now there's no way I'm showing that card off yet. We're going to spend those 2 points of survival to ignore that ability. Next, we add up our strength for the attack. We have a total of 11 strength between our character, weapon, and tokens, and we get 6 more thanks to the retinue adjacent. 17 strength in total. We need a 6+ to wound. 2, no good. That's okay though, because our hit, because in landing our hit, we gained the -1 evasion token for the Watcher, and that's just going to help out with our survivors. All right, not too bad, not too bad. Let's get in there with Eva. Now, it's certainly been a while since we've seen her in action. Now, it's been a while since we've gotten to see her in action, but man, she's been waiting for this encounter. We're going to move her over straight into the Watcher's blind spot, and we're going to attack, activating the blood paint. This is going to allow us to attack with both of our steel swords. 1 dice hitting on a 2+ thanks to her accuracy. A 6 and we make it, and hitting with this thing is an absolute blast. As mentioned before, this has the sharp keyword, which means we add 1d10 strength to the attack. 8 points is solid. The weapon now has 13 strength. Eva has 7, 1 strength token and an additional strength thanks to her quixotic ability. 22 strength. That means our wound attempt is going to wound on a 2+, or so I hope. I haven't even drawn the card yet. Oh my god, I just got so far ahead of myself. Okay, well, let's draw the hit location, and we're good. Void Ganglia. Now this has a failure on it. That's okay, we only need the 2+. And I know I'm saying it like it's a sure thing, but come on, 90% chance. A 3, yes! We sneak in with the wound. We discard this hit location, ignoring the failure, and we drop the Watcher's hit points down by 1. 11 left. Next, we attack with the second steel sword. Again, 2+. A 9, a great hit. Unfortunately, it doesn't fire off the perfect hit. What do we get? The Tentacle Crown. Now this is a first strike location. Attacker loses 2 survival. If they cannot, they gain the Stolen Dream Survivor status. This is going to be amazing. Can we wound again? Let's roll to see how much strength we add. 7 points, that's really good. 12 strength on the sword. 7 natural is 19. 2 other, 21. 2+ again. Yes! We make it in, and that is another wound. The Watcher is on 10 hit points. We resolve the wound effect here. Luminescent ooze splashes over the ground. Turn the Watcher to face the attacker, then move the monster 3 spaces backwards. Cancel all hits, now out of range. This is brilliant because 1, 2, 3, because this is exactly where I wanted the Watcher to be after our first attack with Orin. This is going to be amazing. We activate with our red savior, Fury. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's gonna have to dash if she's gonna get into that blind spot, and you know we want her. Down to 5 survival. She's going to attack with the dual Lion Beast Katars. Now we get 4 dice off the bat here, but we get an additional 1 thanks to Orin's Boss Mendy. This gives adjacent attacking survivors +1 speed, as long as they're insane. And you better believe she is. 5 dice, what do we need? 5 dice, 4+. Let's see how we go. 1, 2, 3, 5 hits. I was not expecting to go that well. Shoot. Let me tell you right now, guys, there are 2 trap cards in the Watcher's hit location deck. We have a terrible chance of drawing one here. Firstly, we get the Void Hood. Next, the Void Membrane, 2 first strike hit locations. The Void Nerve Net is 3. The Void Gastrodermis is 4, and our last hit, yes, Blackened Lanterns. Breathe a sigh of relief, guys and gals. Far out. Alright, so we've got 2 first strike locations here. This one with the reflex will move the Watcher 3 spaces back. So let's not do that, and let's see if we can't get 2 hits in here, beginning with the Void Hood. Now, Fury has what? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strength, and that's honestly not enough to do regular damage in this encounter, but we have come prepared. Check this out. The Red Charm, unstoppable. We have our 5 red affinities. When you attempt to wound, instead roll 1d10. On a 1 to 5, fail. On a 6+ wound. That is as though we had, what, 18 strength? An extra 10? Whoa. Alright, let's roll. Oh, a massive hit there. And check it out. Echoing shrieks intoxicate you. The attacker gains +2 strength tokens, and you may perform Embolden. So not only do we get the wound, bringing the Watcher down to 9 hit points, 9 life, but we gain 2 strength tokens as well. Well, not that we need them, but a rad effect nonetheless. Now, we may perform Embolden, but we haven't lost any survivors just yet, so that's not going to fire off. We instead move to the next attack location, the Void Membrane. Guys, we need another 6+ here. And a 9, another massive hit. This is going to come with a reflex though. The Watcher drops to 8 hit points. And our reflex, well, hypnotic undulations roll over the Watcher's surface. Turn the Watcher to face the attacker, then move the monster 3 spaces backwards. Cancel all hits, now out of range. We are familiar with this, and it's 1, 2, 3. A wonderful thing because we take our 2 survivors out of range of the Lantern Vortex. Unfortunately, Eva's now in the location, but 2 against 1, that's not so bad. We discard the other hits there. Wow, what an incredible start for us. Holy crap. Alright, so we move into the Watcher's turn here, and we resolve his Lantern Vortex trait. At the start of each monster's turn, all survivors in the Void Nexus suffer Bash. Now, Eva is the only one in there, so, sorry girl, you are down and out. I am mistaken. Sorry, not sorry. Check it out. Eva's back on her feet. You know why? She didn't even get knocked down. She is wearing the full set of leather armor, which prevents Bash. I love the way that this worked out. Far out. All right. So, we don't get to ignore this though. We perform basic action, and that is going to be the furthest survivor. There is no range, don't forget. This guy can hit anybody, anywhere. Now, the furthest survivor for us, 3, is actually going to be Eris over here. So, we're going to have our Watcher go 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and he is going to attack. Now, this is speed 4, and it's going to be hitting on 3+. 1, 2, 3, 4 massive hits there. Crap. Let's find out where. 2 to the chest, 1 to the waist, 1 to the arms. And what's that? 5 damage? Far out. Alright, I'll tell you what. We'll take the waist, we'll take the arms, and we'll take just 1 of those chest hits. And we'll spend 1 point of survival to dodge that other hit. Down to 5 points of survival. We have a heavy wound at the arms location, a heavy wound at the body location, and a light wound at the waist. She is knocked down, but that is not so bad. No rolls on the severe injury charts just yet. Alright, well that's the basic action done. Let's draw the AI card. We have Stupefy. Pick a random survivor with 9+ understanding. I don't think anyone has 9 or more here. No worries. So random survivor with 3 or more understanding. And those I definitely know we have. Eris and Eva are potential targets here. Odds for Eris, evens for Eva. Okay, we get a 3, which means it's going to be poor Eris here. Finally, she suffers knockback 10, would go flying. Actually, now the retinue is actually just behind her, so let me have a look. The retinue counts for all intents and purposes as a piece of impassable terrain. Eris would have gone flying, but instead gets knocked down where she is. Poor Eris. Turn to face the target. That's done. They suffer brain damage equal to their understanding and are knocked down. Whoa. So she has 4 points of understanding, and without any insanity to pad this, we are off for a brain trauma roll. Now, thankfully, we have the accept darkness principle. Honestly, guys and gals, do not leave home without it. We add +2 to all brain trauma rolls. All right, let's see what we get. Our 1 becomes a 3. And check this out. We suffer memory loss, lose 2 levels of weapon proficiency. Guess what? Eris is possessed. She don't have any weapon proficiency. Oh my god. We survived the first round of the Watcher. I cannot believe it. We go into the survivors activation and we have each of our survivors stand up and stand tall. Now this is of course thanks to Eva's Fist and Tooth Mastery. Not only does she gain some rad bonuses to her stats, but she grants to everybody the ability to stand if knocked down at the start of the monster's turn or the survivor's turn. Alright, we've got our crew ready to go, and I'll tell you what, I would love to attack with Eva right now, get her in the blind spot, do some damage, but chances are this guy is going to be stepping back. We've seen it plenty of times before, and if the Watcher ends its turn on a space occupied by the retinue, well, they are goners, and with them 4 of our population. So there'll be no attacks from here. We could get one of the guys down here to do an attack on the side, but I would really like for the Watcher to be in range of a charge attack. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack with Eris here. Thanks to her 2+ accuracy and the monster's -1 evasion, we are on 3+. This is the reason we brought her. 3, we do make it here. Let's hope for something semi-D. Shit. Whiteout. If blackout and whiteout are drawn during the same attack, the attacker suffers the head explosion, severe head injury. We don't have to worry about that yet. All survivors are doomed. We move the Watcher to the center of the Showdown board, turn to face the attacker and intimidate. They suffer 3 brain damage, are knocked down, and gain Stolen Dreams Survivor status card. Alright. Here it is, people, the one we've all been waiting for. You cannot gain Stolen Dreams if you have 9 or more courage and understanding. That's a no. When you gain this, you are knocked down. You remain knocked down as long as you have this card. Okay. At the end of your act, if there are 2 or more of any combination of survivors or retinue adjacent to you, archive this card and stand. This isn't so bad, guys. Alright, we reshuffle the hit location deck with our trap card here. We do, of course, suffer another brain trauma. Again, 2+ to our roll. A 4 becomes a 6. We get Danger Seizure. You thrash about wildly, dealing 1 damage to yourself and every adjacent survivor. Gain a random disorder and 1d5 insanity. Oh no. Alright, one thing at a time here. 1d5 insanity. 5 points, that's a waste of a 10, I'll tell you right now. And for our disorder, we get Prey. You may not spend survival unless you are insane. Okay. Now, Eris's seizure, it deals 1 damage to every survivor around her. Now, Eris is technically adjacent to the retinue here, and 1 point of damage is enough to kill them. We have to roll our d10 here, and on a, 3+? 4+. On a 4+, they are destroyed. Let's roll low, guys. Oh. Our retinue is destroyed. And that is 4 population loss. Oh dear. That's a heavy hit. And for what? Oh. Alright. Let's continue our activation. Alright, so we move into Oren's turn. Now he's going to do a bit of moving to make sure he can get the most out of his charge attack. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's going to back right out of there as you can see floating around. As usual though, he's going to charge in for 7 points of movement. Now, this is going to cost us 1 survival. Dashing, we gain that movement point back, and down we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right into the blind spot there. He swings with the Twilight Sword. This is 3 dice, 2+. 1, 2 hits, 1 miss. That is a shame. Where do we get? First one, the Void Nerve Mask. This has a failure on it, nothing more. And the Void Toxin, another failure. Oh, we better not stuff this up. Now, how much strength have we got? We've got 7 points from the charge, 9 on the weapon, 2 strength, and 1 token, 19. We are going to need 4+ here, guys and gals. A 9, wicked stuff. So we'll discard that hit location and 3 points of life from the Watcher. He's down to 5 hit points. We have the Void Nerve Mask here. Again, 4+. Sneaking in again. Down to 2 hit points. We might have it. Don't believe it. 2 wounds. Okay. Let's get Eva in there. What's it gonna take? Look, it's gonna be 2+ no matter where we go. So let's move her up here, right next to the Watcher. And we'll activate the Blood Paint. Our first attack, our first Steel Sword attack here, we're just rolling 1 dice, 2+. Oh, sneaking in there with a hit. Where do we get? The Void Hood. Now this has a failure on it, but nothing more. Could be a good wound for us. We roll for our sharp, and we get 8 points there. This is amazing. 8 + 5, 13, 21. We just need the 2+ here. Sweet. 1 hit point left. I cannot believe this right now. We activate with the second Steel Sword. Let's roll for its added strength, and we get a 5. 18 strength in total. We're gonna need a 5+ here. A 3, no, we do not make it. I didn't even draw a hit location. It's another first strike location, and it does cost us 2 survival. Thankfully, nothing more though. We do miss the attack as we just rolled, and we get the reflex. Hypnotic undulations roll over the Watcher's surface. Turn the Watcher to face the attacker, then move the monster 3 spaces backwards. Cancel all hits, now out of range. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, like that. Now the Watcher moves straight through. Who is it? Our Red Savior, Fury. Whenever the Watcher collides with a survivor, the blood flow to their brains stutters for a moment. They suffer 1 brain damage and 1 damage to the head that ignores armor points. That damage to the head will knock her straight down and takes the insanity down to 5. Far out. Now we could dash into range and attack again, and I think we will. Eva spends a point of survival and dashes face to face with the Watcher. Now Eva has the sweet battle ability. It gives her a free surge. So we're going to roll our dice attacking with the Steel Sword. 2+ for the hit. We get the 8, which is good for us. Now we roll the dice and add the strength of the D10. Only 2 points this time. Brings us up to 15 strength. That's still not bad for us. We're gonna need an 8, a 9, or a 10 to wound here. But first, let me draw our hit location. Another first strike. Attacker loses 2 survival. If they cannot, they die. Oh, Eva down to 3 points. Let's roll. 8+. A 1, no good. We get the reflex here. Turn the Watcher to face the attacker, then move the monster 3 spaces backwards. Cancel all hits, now out of range. 1, 2, 3, and that is it there. Just bring her back. Lay down, Fury. I think that's all that our survivors can do, so it's time for the Watcher to activate. Firstly, we check his Lantern Vortex, and there is no one in range there, no bash. But he does perform his basic action, targeting the furthest survivor. Straight down to Eris he goes, but is he going to catch Eva? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't look like it. 6. All the way down to Eris. This is certainly not a good thing here. The basic action. She's already survived one of these, but can she survive the next? 4 dice. 3 plus. 1, 2, 3 attacks hit. We have a chance. Chest, arms, and head. We take the headshot, suffering our heavy injury there. Arms and chest though. We'd better dodge one of these. We'll dodge the body hit. But we take 5 damage to the arms and they've already got a heavy injury on them. We're going to the severe injury chart. We roll. Let's see how we go. A 2. Guys, you die of shock. Your vision fades along with the sight of your mangled, armless torso. Oh. That sucks. And Eris is no more. Now, Eris, of course, has the Hours Ring. In hindsight, Dried Arcanthus may have been a better call. Alright, into the Watcher's AI card. We get Void Wrap. Survivor with the Hours Ring would be the target here. However, she is dead. So we have the survivor closest to the board edge. It's either going to be Eva or Fury. Odds for Fury, evens for Eva. Odds for Fury it is. We move the Watcher to the center of the board. Place target in front of the monster. The target is doomed. Our savior suffers a 2 speed, 2 plus attack that does 10 damage. What the hell? She's got 2 evasion, so this is 2 dice on 4 plus. 1 hit. Now she's doomed, so we can't dodge here. So we roll the location dice to the chest. Oh! We lose our 1 point of armor and fill in the light and heavy wounds. The rest of the damage takes us to the severe injury chart for the chest. We roll. Ooh, big one! Man, we do alright there. We are bowled over. The blow sends you sprawling and you are knocked down. The best we could have hoped for there. Now it's not over, we have an after damage effect. If the target has the Hours Ring, they suffer -7 to severe injury rolls from this attack. The target gains the Stolen Dreams Survivor status card. Same deal as poor Eris. We are knocked down and remain knocked down as long as we have the card. At the end of your act, if there are 2 or more of any combination of survivors or retinue adjacent to you, archive this card and stand. That's okay, I guess our survivors are pretty close by. I'm thinking we might be able to pull this off. That is the end of the Watcher's turn though. 1 hit point left. Let's do this. We're gonna keep him here and he's going to attack. It's 3 dice hitting on a 2 plus. The reason we're going to keep him here is because if this, for whatever reason, fails miserably, we're going to move him so that he can stand next to Fury. Here we go. 3 dice, 2 plus. 1, 2 hits. Whereabouts? The first is the Tentacle Chains. This is a first strike location. And the second is the Void Gastrodermis. We'll have to go the Tentacle Chains first. Attacker loses 2 survival. If they cannot, they gain the Stolen Dreams Survivor status card. Has he got it? Oh, just barely. 1 point of survival left. Oh, there was no charge. I forgot to charge. What have I done? Guys, we're gonna need 10s here. Oh no. What have I done? Rolling. A 7 is not going to do it. And we ignore. There's nothing on there for us to do. Next, we have the Void Gastrodermis. We need a 10. No! What have I done? The Watcher suddenly jets through the attacker, its passage crackling through the survivor's nerves. Attacker suffers 3 brain Attacker suffers 3 brain damage and gains 1 bleeding token. Move the Watcher to the center of the Showdown board. If the attacker has 6 courage, they may grab onto the monster as it passes. If they do, gain another bleeding token and place the attacker in an unoccupied space adjacent to the monster. Well, we don't have to do that, but we do suffer 3 brain damage. 1 insanity left. This is terrible. And he gains 1 bleeding token. Alright, I'm going to stand by my plan and we're going to move 1, 2... Oh, there's no real point. We're just going to have to go here. Next, we'll activate Eva. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to stand her right in front of the Watcher. We'll spend our activation once again to activate the Blood Paint. This will be 2 attacks with a steel sword in each hand. Our first dice, 2+. And that is a strong hit. We roll a d10 to add our strength. Come on. What do we got? That is a 5 under there. It was a 5. So 10 strength with the weapon. 19 strength in total. Let's draw our hit location card, and it's the Void Shroud. Oh boy. We had better wound here. 4+. And we're done! Yes! We got it! Now, we do have to resolve this wound effect here. All survivors in the Void Nexus suffer 3 brain damage. That is everybody. Fury down to 2 points. Eva down to 1. Orin only has 1 point though. That 3rd point enough for us to have to roll on the brain trauma table. Oh dear. We roll, gaining a +2 for our Accept Darkness principle. 4 goes up to a 6, and we get the Danger Seizure. You thrash about wildly, dealing 1 damage to yourself and every adjacent survivor. Gain 1 random disorder and 1d5 insanity. Firstly, 1 damage to himself, to the chest, no worries. 1 damage to Fury, to the arms, also no worries. 1d5 insanity, 2 points. And lastly, our disorder, hemophobia. The mere sight of blood makes you lightheaded, and serious gore can knock you out. During the showdown, whenever a survivor, including you, gains a bleeding token, you are knocked down. And that is it. We turn our 1 into a none. Our life trait card is empty, and the Watcher is defeated. That is it there, guys. We're going to be suffering 4 population loss, not to mention the death of Eris. In the aftermath, we have victory. With a terrific hiss, the Watcher deflates onto the floor. A moment passes, no longer than a single beat of a heart, before lanterns all over the chamber explode in a dazzling array of colors. An intense luminescent goo washes over the survivors, and they feel triumph. All living survivors gain +1 permanent strength. Then, blackout.
All at once, and without warning, the collected sum of the settlement's lanterns go black. The settlement is plunged into darkness.
Life at the bottom. The survivor's victory over the Watcher is a meaningless event in the teeming world around them. The settlement's conviction is shaken. Lose the ultimate weapon or final fighting art. What? We just got this. How can something so insignificant continue to survive unless a greater purpose beyond death awaits? The settlement discovers a way to cope and innovates destiny. A new innovation. Survival limit +1. The settlement's future is unavoidable. All survivors gain the Endure Survival action. You may spend 7 survival minus your luck to ignore a severe injury before you roll a result. Brilliant. We move to life in the darkness. The Watcher's tangled lantern mass is extinguished. Archive the Lantern Horde settlement location and gain the exhausted Lantern Horde settlement location. The darkness closes in and the survivors gather around the fading light of the Watcher. Tangled in its sinews, the final lantern remains. The light within pulses and swirls with desperate energy. The settlement tears the strange new lantern from the corpse and gains the final lantern rare gear. Anyone that holds it bristles with energy. Visions of wisdom and coursing vigor jolt from the lantern through the survivor. The settlement quickly discovers they can use the final lantern to repair broken ones. Gain 3 survivor's lantern gear cards. Firstly, the final lantern piece. On arrival, all survivors gain the Horripilation survival status card. When not insane, flip this card. Alright, I think the information there is the same, just whether or not the lantern is opened or closed. The final lantern's frenetic light causes bilious anxiety. While its energy brightens your lantern, the hairs on your body bristle. Once per round, if you have the death die, you may use one of the settlement's pulse discoveries. This information here is not for us just yet. We do also gain 3 survivor's lantern cards, each of these having an affinity pointing off it. Very nice. Alright, onward to final knowledge. The final lantern glitters with nervous energy. The settlement commences lantern research.
The final lantern carries the bristling remains of the knowledge consumed by the Watcher. Its energy jumps nervously between lanterns. Occasionally, it imbues the survivors with brilliant flashes of power.
Now, the Lantern Research event introduces a couple of new rules into the game, so a few more things to keep in mind. First, and probably one of the most obvious ones as we go through, is our survivors must now depart with a piece of gear that contains the Lantern keyword. So it's gonna make it tricky to depart with everything we need. The good news is a lot of Lantern gear cards have a lot of affinities, so it can power up like that, but will be a little bit weaker on the gear front. Now, one of our other bonuses is that each of our survivors will gain a new status card, Horripilation. Now this has an interesting mechanic where we introduce the death dice, which sort of travels around the group, and it also changes the way that the monster controller works. Or it would if we were using it. Now, the survivor that has the death dice may once per round use one of our pulse discoveries. Now, pulse discoveries are over here, and we don't start with everything unlocked. We start at level 1 up the top here, Aggression Overload, and the survivor with the death dice may roll it for an additional dice during an attack. As we increase our research level, we'll be able to unlock new powers, which are kind of ridiculous towards the end there. But yeah, that will cost us some resources, and I guess sort of replaces the innovation side of things. There's definitely going to be some pretty interesting changes to the way we've been playing. Big stuff happening here, guys. We are going to head back up to the settlement, and let's just see how our home has changed. Our survivors return from their encounter with the Watcher, bringing with them 3 endeavors. And 2 more for poor Eris. May she rest in pieces. Now, before we go ahead and update the timeline, we say goodbye to our Lantern Horde. No more innovations. I cannot believe we miss out on some of these other things. Oh, what time spent getting pottery. It's okay. That one is gone, and in its place, we have the exhausted Lantern Horde. And man, does this come with some knowledge. We have Dead Guardian up here. The sleeping predator is gone. Without its protective presence, intelligent monsters draw near. You may only hunt level 3 plus monsters. Oh no. We're in for some trouble, guys and gals. All departing survivors must have 1 gear with the lantern keyword in the gear grid. If the settlement has the final lantern, 1 survivor must depart with it in their gear grid. Now, we have a few spots where we can spend our endeavors. We can spend 2 endeavors to lantern research. We can go to the pulse discoveries, spend our bone, hide, and organs to gain a new level. That's all good there. We have oxidation, which is something I haven't even looked at yet, and we can build our survivors' lanterns. Furthermore, we may investigate descending into the spherical chamber beneath the lantern hoard. The air inside is poison, and you hold your breath. There's some full-on stuff that can happen here, including poison, death, disorders, all in the name of collecting strange resources. Decisions to be made in the future. For now, though, we update our timeline, and we move into Lantern Year 22. Our random settlement event is Stranger in the Dark, and we roll 1d10 here. We get a 6. The stranger is dressed in a black ragged cloak that obscures its form. A myriad of strange lanterns hang from chains wrapped around its body. The stranger speaks in a dark, raspy tone. I am the lamplighter. Give me your light. Each player nominates a different survivor to bring him a lantern and rolls 1d10. Now, would anyone mind if I phoned it in here? I'm going to first send Dorian, who is just 1 point away from curing his apathetic disorder, but he has -1 to luck, and it wouldn't be the worst loss. Hoping for a 7+ here. Oh. The stranger holds its lantern to the survivor's face, and the shine fades from their eyes. When the lamplighter leaves, the survivor is found dead. Oh man, Jesus. Okay, that's one. Our next one is Ren, who retired early to complete the Phoenix Volume 1. He has binge eating, a dismembered leg, and an Achilles tear from an old marathon wound. Let's roll for him. Shit. That's another one gone, guys. What is this guy doing? Oh my god. Next up, we have Rain, who's kind of a nobody, but they have +1 strength. I feel like this is too much now. We can't roll a 1 or 2 again. Come on. A 3. Oh, what's that? The stranger makes an off-putting ticking noise, and the lantern light dims slightly. The survivor suffers -1 permanent strength. I'll take that over death any day. And lastly, I thought I'd risk it and send in Null, who is doing wonderfully. Yeah, he's got heaps of strength. If we get that 3 to 6, it's not the worst. We just can't get a 1 or a 2 again. A 4. Okay, so he loses 1 strength. That's fine. All that matters is we survive this. Oh, wait. Hang on. Let's just quickly go back to Dorian and Ren, who both rolled 2s. Dorian, we have rerolls. Hang on. Let's quickly duck back over to Ren here, and we're going to use his reroll to hopefully survive. That's much better. He gains 1 courage and 1 strength. It's not going to do him heaps of good here, but we'll take that. And Dorian will use his as well. 4. Alright, he loses 1 strength, but that is okay. Right. Thank goodness for that. And we are through with that settlement event. We've updated the timeline, and now we update the death count. And this is why I wanted those 2 to survive, because guess what? We have to knock off 4 of our living survivors here. Now, Ren, you're definitely the first to go. I'm sorry. Dorian number 2. Rain and her attempt at dagger specialization. Yep, she can be number 3. And I think for number 4, we're going to have to go one of our unnamed survivors. Survivor number 15 from way back. The son of Dryleaf and Freya. What great parents they are. And what a brave soul he was. We lost 4 there, and an additional survivor in the showdown. 5 deaths. The death count is updated. We move on to the check milestones to develop, and it's time to figure out what we're going to do with our lives out here, guys. I'm going to leave the development stage for next ep. Let us all recover from such an epic encounter. It was edge of your seat stuff, but really, I don't know how we're gonna do it. We have nothing but level 3 encounters in front of us. Big deep breath, guys. We're gonna dive on in next step. We did it! I cannot believe how good that feels to get that Watcher encounter out of the way. I was so scared that we weren't going to make it here. There were a couple of times through that where I was like, it's all over. Oh, and I don't know what we'd do to start again. Because that was like, there's some of my favourite survivors. Eva, absolutely smashing it. Oren, completely integral to this build. And our Red Saviour sneaking in there with those katars. Was good. And let's not forget Eris, who gave her life. The history of our archers, it's not a good look back there. But we survived and we're through potentially one of the toughest encounters in the game. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think it was that challenging of an encounter. I know we didn't see that many attacks from the Watcher, but with our setup, it would have been hard to make it last any longer, hey? Honestly, I think the Watcher represents a turning point in the Kingdom Death Monster game. Yes, it's, the highlight boss of the thing, but it is not the end. It is the beginning of the end game. We've got nothing but level 3 encounters ahead of us, all the way up to the final boss for the 1.5 campaign. So that's level 3, White Lion, Antelope, Phoenix. How are we going to deal with a Phoenix? And, okay, they're going to be tough. But don't forget, we've still got the Butcher, the King's Man, and the Hand of the King, and I'm pretty sure they are going to carve us into tiny pieces. This is the true end game for Kingdom Death, and it's going to melt us away, I'm sure. Yeah, so all in all, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how we build out from here on. We're going to have pretty much 8 gear grids to play around with that 9th having to go to a lantern. And for some of our survivors who are carrying their beloved rocks, it's going to be even harder. So it's going to be a challenge, that's for sure. Next hunt, I think we're going to have to go the White Lion. I'm very excited to see what this level 3 beast is going to bring, and we'll just push through it from there. I know there's still a lot more to do as far as gear is going. We are nowhere near prepared for our Lantern Year 30 encounter, so right now it's about that sprint to the end. Alright, so with all that being said, thank you very much for sticking around up to this point, guys. It's been absolutely wonderful. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all those amazing things that you YouTubers can do to help support this channel and help it grow. Other than that though, guys, we are about done. So as always, my name's Michael, this is Bits Aboard. We'll catch you next time.